Welcome to this deep dive. We're tackling something pretty fundamental to professional life today.
Mm-hmm.
Writing formal emails that actually
Right.
connect, that sound human and, well, get results.
Yeah, exactly. Forget those really stiff robotic
We're
messages.
aiming for, let's say, polished professionalism.
Exactly. And we're drawing on some great insights from C1 writing formal emails that don't sound like a robot wrote them.
Ah,
Think of it as moving beyond just basic email rules to really mastering your professional voice in writing.
right. So our goal here is to give you strategies, real practical ones, to turn those stiff, maybe outdated formalities into clear, compelling communication.
Yeah.
We want you to feel confident navigating those tricky tones like maybe polite pushback or warm welcome.
That's a hard one sometimes.
It really is. And crucially, to help you steer clear of those common email mistakes that can, sometimes without you realizing, undermine your professional image.
And just to show why this really matters, this kind of nuanced approach, well, think about this.
Oh, I've got a story here. I actually once started an email with "Respected Sir Madam." Very formal,
Okay.
right?
Standard, maybe a bit old-fashioned.
The reply I got back: "I'm neither respected nor a sir."
Ouch.
Yeah. It really hammered home how those default phrases can just fall flat if you haven't thought about who you're talking to.
Wow. And what's fascinating there is how fast a seemingly safe formality can actually create a negative vibe.
Totally.
So by the end of our chat today, you should have a much stronger feel for how to make your formal emails genuinely professional, but still human.
Good.
You'll be hopefully better set up to handle those tricky tone situations and definitely more aware of those career-limiting habits.
Like hitting urgent maybe a bit too often.
Exactly, like reaching for that urgent flag with a little too much enthusiasm.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Starting with something really foundational, the formality scale. It's all about consciously picking the right level of formality for the email you're sending. We've all seen emails all over the spectrum.
Absolutely. So at one end, you've got what you might call overly stiff. Think of phrases like, pursuant to our discussion. It just feels very detached, almost legalistic.
Yeah, like you need a lawyer to read it.
And interestingly, while the aim is professionalism, that level of stiffness can sometimes, well, create distance. Maybe even a bit of mistrust.
Right, it feels impersonal.
Yeah.
Okay, so then there's the sweet spot, the just right zone.
Yeah, something like following up on our chat about
Simple.
it's professional, it's clear, but it also kind of acknowledges you actually spoke to the person. There's a human connection there.
Okay, and then obviously the other end, too casual,
Yeah, hey buddy, about that thing.
chuckles slightly.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not for the CEO.
It might fly with, close colleagues if your workplace is super informal, but it's risky in most professional settings, especially with new people or more traditional companies.
Definitely.
Okay.
Okay, so to get you thinking about your own email style, where would you place these examples on that scale? First one, I require immediate assistance.
That one definitely leans towards the stiffer end.
Yeah.
And that word require can sound quite demanding. It might, damage the rapport a bit.
Okay. Example two. Could you possibly help me with this when you have a moment?
Ah, much better. That's more polite, isn't it? Using possibly and when you have a moment, it softens the request.
Right.
It feels like a good level of formality for a lot of professional situations.
Okay, and the last one, number three, HELP. All caps, 3 exclamation marks.
Well, that one's kind of blown past the formality scale altogether, hasn't it? Straight into panic mode.
Yeah, probably save that for a text message.
To a very, very understanding friend, maybe. Not really for a professional email.
No.
But what this shows is how important it is to consciously choose your words to match the situation and, the effect you want to have.
Precisely. Okay, let's move on. There's a really practical technique for making sure your emails are clear. The 3-sentence rule.
Yeah.
This is all about structuring emails so busy people can actually read them and get the point quickly, respecting their time.
This is such a powerful tool. It really improves efficiency and just makes it easier for the person reading it. It basically boils down to 3 key things in your main message.
Okay.
First, the purpose. Right up front, say why you're writing. So something like, I'm writing to clarify the deadline for the marketing campaign.
Got it. Straight in.
Yeah.
No long preamble.
Exactly.
Then, second part.
The details, the essential context, just enough information so they understand the why behind your purpose.
Right.
So building on that example, The client moved the launch date, so all the deliverables need to be ready 2 weeks earlier.
Okay, that makes sense. Context is crucial.
It really is. It gives the background, helps them see the reason for your email, and then finally, the action.
What do you need them to do?
Precisely. Be specific about what you need, if anything. So you might finish with, could you please confirm by end of week if this new timeline works for your team?
Simple, clear, asks for a specific response. Okay. Now think about those really long, rambling emails we've all received.
Oh yeah, the ones you have to scroll through forever.
Exactly. Where the main point is buried like 5 paragraphs down.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine taking that same information and just boiling it down. 3 sentences. Purpose, details, action.
It forces you to be really focused.
It does. It's a great way to respect the reader's time and make sure your message actually lands.
Definitely. Okay, so now let's tackle something that trips a lot of people up. Tone. Those times when what you meant isn't quite how it came across.
Oh, absolutely. It's so easy for an email to sound, I don't know, abrupt or unclear or even demanding, even when you don't mean it to.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at some common tone problems and how to fix them, like being too direct.
Right. So instead of just bluntly writing, you forgot the attachment, which, let's face it, sounds accusatory.
Yeah, it puts people on the defensive.
It can damage the relationship. A better way might be something like, I couldn't seem to find the attachment. Perhaps it didn't come through. Or even, did the attachment get missed somehow?
Oh, that's much softer.
It's still clear, but it offers a kind of face-saving way out. It keeps things more collaborative. It's amazing how a small phrasing change can shift the whole feeling.
It really is. Okay, another one. Being too vague. Instead of that confusing about that thing message.
Please don't send those. Clarity is just essential. Be specific. Try. Regarding the updated sales figures for Q3 that we discussed on Monday.
Right. Give them a clear reference point.
It saves everyone time. Avoids confusion.
Okay, and a really common one, I think. Coming across as too eager or worse, demanding. We've all felt that urge to write ASA in the subject line.
I have. But while you might feel that urgency, a more professional and honestly usually more effective way is to say something like, if possible, getting this by end of day Thursday would be incredibly helpful.
Give a reason.
Yeah, briefly explain the impact. It sets a clear time frame, but also gives context and avoids that kind of aggressive ASAP vibe.
Makes sense. And speaking of what not to do, we have this thing we jokingly call the shame file.
Chuckles, yeah.
Real subject lines that probably went straight to spam or at least raised some serious red flags.
Oh, I can imagine. Things like urgent, please, read now. Or those ones in all capital letters demanding attention.
Yeah, those.
Those kinds of subject lines often backfire, don't they? They just look unprofessional. People are more likely to ignore them or just delete them.
True.
A clear, concise, informative subject line is always, always the better way to go.
Okay. Now let's pivot a bit. Let's talk about something that's really important in our global world. Navigating cultural differences in emails.
Ah, yes. Critical.
What's considered normal or polite isn't the same everywhere.
Absolutely not. And what works perfectly well in one culture might be seen very differently somewhere else.
Like what? Give us an example.
Well, okay, in American business culture, it's pretty common to get to the point relatively quickly.
Right.
But you often start with a bit of friendly small talk, like, hope you're well.
Okay. What about, say, the UK?
Well, in British business culture, often there's more emphasis on understatement.
Understatement.
Yeah. So saying there's a slight issue could actually mean there's a pretty significant problem.
Ah, okay. Good to know.
It's a subtle but important difference in style.
Interesting. And Germany.
In Germany, the general expectation is often to maintain a more formal tone, using titles, using last names.
Until invited otherwise.
Exactly. Until a more familiar relationship is clearly established. Jumping to first names too soon can actually be seen as disrespectful.
Wow.
And these differences often come from deeper cultural values about things like directness, politeness, hierarchy.
Fascinating. Okay, so here's a little exercise for you listening. How would you rephrase a direct request like, please fix this mistake for 3 different people? An American, a British person, and a German person, keeping these general tendencies in mind.
Okay, good challenge. So for an American colleague, maybe you'd soften it a bit. Could you please take a look at this and make the necessary adjustments when you have a chance?
Okay, polite, gives them some agency.
For a British recipient, maybe use that understatement. There appears to be a small discrepancy here that might need your attention.
Small discrepancy.
Got it. And for a German contact, maintaining formality would be key. Zeragirta last name. Dear Mr. Ms. last name. I've noticed an error that needs correction. I would appreciate it if you could review this at your convenience.
So, still direct about the error, but framed very formally and politely.
Exactly. And these small tweaks, they seem small, but they can massively affect how your message lands and how you're seen professionally across different cultures.
Definitely worth thinking about. Okay, finally, before you hit that send button,
Yeah.
let's run through a quick but vital pre-send checklist.
Yes. Essential steps. Catch those simple errors. Make sure your email actually works.
First up.
Read it aloud. Honestly, this is so effective
Wait.
because you'll immediately hear any phrasing that sounds awkward or robotic or just wrong. If it feels weird saying it, it's probably going to read weirdly too.
Good tip.
Okay, what else?
Double check names and titles.
Yeah.
Seriously, make sure you're spelling the name right, using the right title.
Nothing worse than getting someone's name wrong.
It just kills the message before they've even read it. Avoid those outdated forms or just plain mistakes.
Right. And then?
Your subject line, put yourself in their shoes. Would you open this email based on that subject line?
Good question.
Is it clear? Is it concise? Does it actually reflect what's inside the email? A good subject line is like the front door to your message.
Okay. And you mentioned a bonus tip. Yeah, a little pro tip. Some data suggests that sending emails on a Tuesday, maybe around 10:30 a.m. their time,
Tuesday, 10:30 a.m.
might correlate with slightly higher open rates. It's not magic, obviously, but it's an interesting little data point to maybe factor into your timing.
Worth experimenting with, perhaps.
Yeah, every little edge helps, right?
All right, so after this deep dive, here's your mission, should you choose to accept it. 2 parts.
Okay.
First, look back at your recent emails, maybe ones in your drafts. Find at least one phrase that sounds a bit too corporate speak or overly formal, and just rewrite it. Make it sound more like, well, you.
Yeah.
More human.
Good exercise. And second,
Think about a really good email you got recently, something that worked well. Why did it work? Analyze it. What was the tone like? The structure? The specific words they used? What can you actually learn from that example?
that's a great way to learn, analyzing what works.
Definitely.
Right.
So next time on the deep dive, we're going into a really interesting area, C1, C2 level humor in professional life.
The tricky world of jokes at work.
Exactly. When they land brilliantly and when they, well, bomb spectacularly. It follows on nicely from today, actually.
It does. It really highlights that connection between tone and understanding nuance, which includes humor.
Yeah, it really underscores how important understanding nuance is in all communication.
Absolutely.
So here's a final thought for you to mull over. Just reflect on how even small changes in your email language, tiny adjustments, can really shift how your message is received, and ultimately how they affect your professional image. Was one small, immediate change you could make, starting today, to sound a bit less like an automated reply and more like the thoughtful person you actually are?
That's the key question. And just a reminder, if you want that handy cheat sheet we mentioned, 10 overused phrases to avoid,
Well, yeah.
just send us a direct message on X. We're at English Unlocked. Use the hashtag human emails.
Great. And looking ahead, we've got those suture deep dives planned on C1, C2, humor, as we said, and also advanced networking, getting beyond just small talk.
Yeah, looking forward to those.
Our goal today, really, was to tackle some of that email anxiety people feel, offer some structure but also flexibility, and just build a better foundation for understanding tone in all your professional writing.
Yeah.
Even, yes, getting ready for workplace humor.
It all connects.
It does. Until our next conversation, may your emails always sound authentically you.